Hi, good morning everyone. I am so sorry that the live thing didn't work out. So here's what happened. Miss Gibson forgot to double check to see what I needed to do on my YouTube channel to make sure that I could go live. But just to be extra safe, YouTube has to go through this a day-long process to make sure that I'm posting stuff that's okay and good for kids. And then once they see that I do post stuff that's good for kids, then they give me a little check mark that says, all right, you're good to go and you can go live. But I didn't know that and I didn't check. So that's why it's always important that we have to read all the directions, and I learned that today kind of the hard way. But I still wanted to make a video of at least one or two of the things that I planned on doing for you all live today. Now, YouTube is going to give me that little check mark probably by tomorrow, and then I'm going to do a test run of it so that way next Friday, April 24th, we will be good to go then, and then I can go live straight from YouTube. So the link that you have and that, and that Dr. Howard put out in the NTI video, that is correct and that is right. And yeah, that's all good. So if you have that link, you should be good to go. I will also make sure that your classroom teachers have that, and they can send that out to the grown-ups in your house through Remind and through email, so that way we all have the same kind of stuff. But I do have a book for you this morning, and it's called The Noisy Paint Box. Okay, so let's find out what The Noisy Paint Box is about. Vasya Kandinsky spent his days learning to be a proper Russian boy. He studied bookfuls of math, science, and history. He practiced piano scales to the marching click of the metronome. He sat stiff and straight at dressed-up dinners while the grown-ups talked and talked and talked. Vasya's well-off world was perfectly polite until the day his aunt gave him a small wooden paint box. Every proper Russian boy should appreciate art, said Auntie. She showed Vasya the correct way to mix colors on the paint box palette. Vasya mixed red with yellow, and then he mixed red with blue. As the colors changed, Vasya heard a whisper, "Sss." Louder, "Sss." Then louder still, "Sss." What's that sound? Asked Vasya. I don't hear a thing, said Auntie. Vasya listened as his brush stirred and swished. The swirling colors trilled like an orchestra tuning up for a magical symphony. Mama, Papa, called Vasya. It's a noisy paint box. Silly Vasya, said Papa. Stop being foolish, said Mama. Vasya painted the sound of the colors. He spun a bright lemon circle onto the canvas. It clinked like the highest notes on the keyboard. He brushed a powerful navy rectangle that vibrated deeply like big, low cello strings. He tossed up jagged swashes of blaring crimson and added cheerful dots of burbling green, clanging orange, and tinkling violet. Vasya painted and painted until the colors went quiet. Look what I made, shouted Vasya. Is it a house? Asked Auntie. Is it a flower? Asked Mama. What's it supposed to be? Asked Papa. It's music, said Vasya, waltzing his painting around the house. Calm down and do some math, said Mama and Papa. Heavens, said Auntie, this boy needs a proper art class. So Vasya went to art class and learned to draw houses and flowers just like everyone else. As the years passed, Vasya finished school and he studied to become a lawyer. He ignored his noisy paint box in his head and lived the way people expected. But Vasya couldn't ignore the sounds of the colors singing to him in the streets of Moscow. The canary-colored mailbox whistling as he rode to work, the scarlet sunset haze ringing above the ancient Kremlin walls, an ivory chorus of snowflakes scattered on the sable collar of his overcoat. One evening, Vasya attended the opera. As the orchestra's music crashed around him, the colors of his noisy paint box twirled wildly in his mind, stomping lines of vermilion and coral, caroling triangles in pistachio and garnet, thundering arches of aqua and ebony, with shrill points of cobalt and saffron. Vasya heard the colors singing, and Vasya saw the music dancing. And Vasya was never quite as proper again. He quit his job teaching law and moved from Moscow to Munich to be a painter. He studied with this famous teacher and then that famous teacher, and they asked the same questions. Is it a house? Is it a flower? What's it supposed to be? They all asked. Vasya wanted to paint the colors he heard, but maybe the famous teachers knew best. Once again, Vasya put houses and flowers, animals, and people into his paintings, just like everyone expected. His teachers were happy. Vasya was not, though. His artist friends understood. They were too tired of painting pretty landscapes and pretty ladies. They thought art needed to change. Art should make you feel something, Vasya told them, just like music does. Exactly, said his friends. But none of them knew how to paint feelings. Until the day Vasya grew brave enough and invited the world to see the paintings roaring from inside his own noisy paint box. Snapping blue points, crunching crimson squares, whispering charcoal lines. Vasya named these paintings after the music he loved. He called them improvisation, composition, accompaniment, fugue, movement, and also 3 sounds. With his noisy paint box, Vasya Kandinsky created something entirely new, a new type of art, abstract art. It took a long time for people to understand, and they asked the same questions. Is it a house? Is it a flower? What's it supposed to be? They all asked. It's my art, Vasya answered. How does it make you feel? And that's the end of that book. So next Friday when we go live, we're going to learn a little bit more about Vasya Kandinsky and some of the other neat things that he was able to draw because he had a noisy paint box in his head. I have one more thing for you today. And I don't think anybody's heard me play this because I haven't gotten this out at school yet. But who knows what this is called? Yep, this is a recorder. And my recorder actually has 3 parts to it. And I'll show you them right now. Here's one of them. And here's the other 2. And when I put them back together, I need to look from this top part straight down. I need to make sure that all these little holes line up right with what I see. Except for these bottom 2. Those bottom 2 actually have to be turned off that way just a little bit so that my pinky fits on it better. I'm going to play some just little song patterns on the recorder, and I want you to sing them back to me. So if you were singing back to me, that means you'd be my echo. So it would sound something like this. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Alright, this time you're going to do them without me singing with you. Are you ready? Here we go. That one was tricky. Let's try that again. So before we go, I want to play Happy Birthday on this recorder for anybody who's had a birthday since NTI started. That can be you, that can be your brother and sister, that can be any grown-ups at your house, and this is going to be your happy birthday. Alright, bye everybody. Thank you for being so patient with me, and I'm super excited to go live now for our take 2 on our first time next Friday. Have a good weekend. It's good to see you all.